Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wickersoft's webinar series. We have another exciting edition today, specifically how to increase IT business value with an integrated PPM and ITSM solution. My name is Mike Otranto, and I'm a strategic account specialist at Wickersoft. I'm also joined with Jim Patterson, who leads in the business development role, and Matt Willey, our product guru. The line will not be open for questions, but feel free to email us directly and we'll be happy to answer your questions that way. We'll be including our contact information at the end of the webinar. If for some reason you get distracted or pulled away during the webinar, no need to worry. I will be emailing the recording and slide deck of today's presentation. I will now hand off the webcast to Jim Patterson. Jim?
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this webcast today. So let's get into the topic of increased business value with an integrated IT PPM and ITSM solution. Along the way, the topics we're going to be covering are going to be talking about the current challenges that this solution is addressing in the marketplace. We'll then talk about Wickersoft's One Connect, which enables some of the things that we're talking about here today, if not all of them. Then we'll talk about the different integrated IT management use cases that we might explore and address with the solution we're going to talk about today. And then Matt Willey will jump on and give you a live demonstration of these capabilities in action. We'll finish up with a summary and a wrap up and some special offers for you folks for attending and signing up for the webinar that we'll offer from Wickersoft. So with that, let's get going. So what are some of the current challenges that an integrated solution with IT PPM and ITSM are addressing? Well, it's not uncommon for organizations to have a myriad of systems and tools and even spreadsheets around the organization to address different types of work and work management needs. Three silos that we see a lot that are depicted in this picture are service management, ITSM or for IT service management, and where there people are adopting tools like ServiceNow, Cherwell, Salesforce Service Cloud, Microsoft Dynamics, and a variety of others out there in the marketplace to address that ad hoc, unplanned, or what some people call unstructured work that comes in on demand. It's based on on-demand incidents, problems, changes, etc. And then you have the more structured work, things like project management traditionally that are done in things like Microsoft Project and other related tools, where people are building out plans and then tracking against that plan and doing the more traditional waterfall type project management. And then there's the application side of things. We've done webinars on this with the Agile pieces, where people are using other tools that are maybe more conducive to software development and Agile, or even new product development using things like Visual Studio, Jira, version 1, just to name a few. The idea here is that people have adopted these tools in many cases piecemeal to address specific needs, and at the end of the day you end up with a myriad or a hodgepodge even of tools, and sometimes people innovate spreadsheet solutions and other things in order to address certain needs. The result is that work is managed in different and parallel processes that don't talk to one another. There's multiple entry points of work that's associated. Users who get assigned work sometimes have to monitor a half a dozen or more systems and spreadsheets to get the totality of the work that's been put on their plate and to provide the feedback on what's been accomplished. And then with departmental silos that drive these different silos and solutions, they may have competing processes and priorities so that users get confused as to what is the most important things they should even be working on. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of some of the confusion and disconnection and dysfunction that can happen. So if we look at the technology-driven challenges, is how do you find your way through this maze of processes, applications, and that information to manage all of my work? The idea is that you've got all of these questions, all of these symptoms up here that really can provide ineffective, inefficient, and even dysfunctional ways of doing work. And ultimately, if we have poor customer service, whether that's internal or external, or there's unclear a direction, it can lead to doing the wrong things at the wrong time and even providing less than stellar customer support. So can you really afford the barriers? The silos, what they do is they really put up walls, and these walls mean these different silos of information or these different organizations cross-functionally sometimes have difficulty working together. It can result in low response times. It can result in lost productivity, ineffective ways of working, and even more importantly, it can lead to confused and unhappy employees, which could result in frustration and ultimately turnover if we want to take it that far. And the idea is that these things can be avoided if we can streamline and bridge the gap in some way. So let's talk about Wickersoft's One Connect, which is going to be the foundational piece of what we're talking about for an integrated solution. Wickersoft's One Connect is an integration platform that's been developed in the Microsoft cloud that it connects a variety of different systems together of different genres. They are a suite of productized connectors in this platform. And what they do is they allow, for example, a PPM solution like Project Online to be a central portfolio for all work and resource management and projects and non-project alike. But One Connect can bridge the gap and actually create integration or synchronization between software development tools, and agile tools, financial systems, professional services or CRM types of systems, lighter weight work management systems. And our focus now, highlighted in the light blue in the lower right, are the service management or ITSM solutions. Some of the more common ones we see today are ServiceNow, Cherwell, Service Cloud from Salesforce, Dynamics 365, just to name a few. And the idea here is, and we're going to use ServiceNow probably as a primary example today because of its popularity in our demonstration and our examples, but the use cases are very similar with the ITSM connections, the logic of how a PPM solution integrates with an ITSM solution, and it's really about just mapping those to the specific APIs or data sources from the variety service management tools. The key here is by unifying these things, we can maximize return on investment. We can support tailored connections to create a seamless flow of work on a scheduled basis that the users don't have to do anything unnatural to make that happen. And we can unify the work elements and the different silos of the different applications. And this is true for either cloud-based solutions or even solutions that you may have on premise. The key is to take advantage of the advantages of best-of-breed tools in all of these different genres or areas, but have them work together without duplication of effort or inefficiency. So let's talk about the integrated IT management use case. In this case, we think about demand coming in from a variety of places within an organization. It could be projects, it could be service requests, it could be change requests, just to name a few. And they could be coming in from a variety of different sources, whether it be emails or the different systems or silos that we talked about. Ultimately, in an integrated solution, this common funnel would go through a common selection, evaluation, and execution process, meaning as this funnel comes through, they can be evaluated as these requests come through. And then they can be put down the proper path as to whether or not it's truly a project that we're working on. Is it application or software development or enhancement? Is it truly a service request, a change, an incident, a problem, something that comes through the ITSM solution? And the idea is that you can manage these through the appropriate tools that you have in your organization and flow them through the execution piece, but have common visibility for reporting anywhere through that life cycle. And the idea is to funnel all IT work through a common governance and control structure if we have these different components or different siloed solutions working together instead of separately. If we look at an IT management use case, let's look at Project Online at the top. It is a fully functional and very robust project and portfolio management solution to manage an entire portfolio of work. If we look at the blue bar across the top, it really provides end-to-end capability from early ideas and demand management through portfolio selection and optimization, and then all the execution and reporting throughout. The idea there is that it's something that is used very prevalently in the marketplace today because it's based on Office 365, which many people are using today for their business productivity tools and their email and communication. And Wickersoft's One Connect provides a bridge from that as a centralized aggregating place for this information. So the idea here is, as we look down the left-hand path of where we says projects, it actually natively handles its own project management waterfall capabilities with things like Microsoft Project or its onboard Project Web Access, or it could use other project tools, things like Office 365 Planner, SharePoint, or other lighter weight tools that are available out there in the marketplace. Down the center path, this is where we have the agile pieces, and we've done webinars on that. We have recorded ones out on our website that you can look at to talk about bringing those tool sets into the mix and having them fully integrated into a Project Online portfolio of work. Our focus today is going to be down that right-hand side. where the service management piece, where we have ad hoc requests, changes, and other things and incidents coming through there, how those things get initiated in a solution like that, especially where the focus is more on operational work and in that area, and how do we get the proper work to feed into Project Online so that we can look at work in its totality. We can actually see what bubbles up to become actual projects and put it through a common approval and governance approach and process. And then how we can have people who are more operational in nature do what they need to do within ServiceNow and not have to necessarily go directly into the PPM or Project Online solution to execute or make the appropriate requests and make those things happen. Ultimately simplifying the process and letting people live in the tools that are most appropriate for their role in the organization. So some highlights of an integrated ITSM coordinated with a PPM solution use case. IT is now being asked to drive customer value. It's not a technical organization, it's how do we add value to the organization? And in order to do that, they're being asked to answer key questions such as, how much time and budget are we spending on strategic versus maintenance activities? Keep the lights on versus discretionary, those types of things. Is IT actively engaged in activities that are directly impacting the strategic objectives of the organization as a whole? Meaning, are we working on things that strategically align with the goals and objectives stated by the organization? And if they're not, why are we working on them? And how and where is IT adding value to the business? And what return on investment can be expected for those efforts? Metrics that leadership wants to see. Why are we investing? How that investment is tracking? And is that investment really bringing the benefits that we thought it was going to bring? And what departments or business units are consuming the most IT resources? And can we make operational improvements to better support the needs of these groups for efficiencies? Now, PPM solutions are good for part of this. ITSM solutions are strong at some aspects of this, but combining the synergies of those two into a common solution can even bring even more value to an organization. So commonly what we see for an IT service management solution, a lot of times it has a huge footprint across the organization, meaning employees around the organization have the ability to submit incidents and problems and requests and tickets to IT. Being something, and I will use ServiceNow in this case as an example. So there can be a broadly available self-service portal where anybody can put a request in of a variety of different types, and there's all different types of request types or entity types within an ITSM solution like ServiceNow. There may be a service catalog of things that are available. There may be requests, incidents, changes, and other aspects of that. But generally, it's more universally available throughout the organization because everybody may raise an incident or a ticket into a help desk system, for example. Now, if you wrap that around and actually have that integrated with a PPM solution like Project and Project Online, that can integrate and take that front-end portal and route the appropriate requests so that we can do proper portfolio management, optimization, prioritization, and selection. We can see if some of these requests are actually projects as opposed to requests or incidents. And we can actually generate work tasks from both cases, whether they be incidents or requests that get tagged to people to actually solve, or are they structured project tasks? And then the combination thereof can give us a total workload view, both for the user, for the organization, and even as we do resource management and capacity planning. So in one flow, and what we see very often is that funnel where requests are coming in from a variety of different flavors and sources. By being able to use a broadly available tool in the organization like ServiceNow, all of these items can be captured. And once those requests are captured, they can be sorted and prioritized in ServiceNow to give a single front door to IT for that customer base internally. Even sometimes it extends externally to external customers. Ultimately, projects and larger requests or the appropriate types of entities are tagged so they can sync with Project Online via OneConnect from Wickersoft and creates a project in Project Online or a request in Project Online that's available for prioritization along with other demand that's coming in or other ideas or even competing with existing in-flight projects so that we can actually select and prioritize the right things to work on. That concept there of just because we execute well Doesn't mean that if we're working on the wrong things or the less ideal things, that doesn't mean we're necessarily doing well if we do the wrong things right. So ultimately, when those things get into the PPM solution or project online, and they get prioritized, the updates on the status of those requests, or if they turn into projects and the updates on the projects and how they're progressing, those updates from Project Online are automatically synchronized back to ServiceNow to ensure that the requests stay up to date, and the people who live in the ServiceNow solution or are more operations focused in ServiceNow can keep up to date on their requests and the resultant projects from those without having to leave ServiceNow in order to get that information. The other piece is where projects are planned and scheduled in Project Online directly, and they go through a governance or intake process there. And then different items of work that get created in ServiceNow could possibly become components or tasks within those other projects. So meaning something may bubble up and it may get tagged to be part of a certain project, and it can become either a piece of information that's related to that project in Project Online, or it can actually become or integrated in as a task within a larger project schedule within Microsoft Project. The idea is it doesn't need to all start from ServiceNow as a project, but components or pieces that get initiated in ServiceNow can definitely be synchronized and become part of the overall PPM landscape. In all cases, updates are synced with Project Online for consolidated portfolio reporting. This helps us with getting complete sets of tasks and work items in a project. It helps us with identifying tasks that could be possibly put into a database for time reporting, so that regardless of whether it's initiated in ServiceNow or Microsoft Project, we can capture time. Or if we're not capturing time from a timesheet perspective, just capturing resource information so that we can do capacity planning. So it can factor in both project and operational work as we look at total capacity versus demand for different resources in our organization. Because if we just look at projects, we may be understating people's availability because they may have operational obligations that they have to take care of or commitments. So if we don't factor it all in, we could be making commitments based on incomplete information and having a high likelihood of not meeting that commitment. So ultimately, portfolio management is done in the PPM solution, in this case, Project Online. So regardless of whether the project requests or the project prioritization or the capacity planning or even the financials and the cost management is being done for projects overall, the hub and the system of record for this type of information would still be the PPM solution, because it's what it's designed to do. It's what it excels at doing. But the opportunity here is really on the resource management side of things. We have a lot of customers that are doing resource capacity planning and tracking resources and forecasting resources in a project management system, but it doesn't take into full account in many cases what's going on the operational side. And in IT shops, typically 70% of IT spend is on the operational side, where the project side may be 30% of the spend. If we're only focusing on the resource activity and utilization and availability on the project dimension of that, we're definitely missing the boat and not really looking at total resource requests. So the idea is, how do we bring that all together without manually mashing up this data and doing unnatural things by compiling things in spreadsheets and other types of reports in order to make this happen? We have an opportunity with this integrated solution to bring this all together naturally and have this information come into a common forum, being Project Online. And then you can create work items that may be associated with projects, and we can get those into the from the ITSM solution to the PPM or project solution and have it become part of the timesheet mix of things that are available for people to charge against without them having to duplicate that effort or create that in two different places. So the idea is that things that originate in ServiceNow could end up becoming items in the PPM solution if we have the integration component in place from One Connect. And then ultimately, everybody wants reporting and analytics. And as reporting and analytics becomes more sophisticated in this day and age, to have a centralized reporting capability with centralized hybrid dashboards that have project-related metrics, portfolio management-related metrics, both for the project teams and for the executives that are looking to track their investments at a higher level, as well as more ITSM type of metrics that may be focused on things like response times and other things that aren't necessarily typically tracked in a project management solution. By building a rich, comprehensive set of data from a combined set of solutions that are now working together rather than separated in those different silos, we can get some powerful reporting and look at this very easily. I like to say that if the reporting becomes a natural output of you work in the process, and the reporting doesn't become a project in and of itself because you have to construct them every reporting cycle, it's a big win and a big labor savings for your organization and for your individual contributors. Wickersoft has One Analytics, which is an extended data store and a robust set of report packs that basically allow you to get all these different reports, between 40 and 50 reports these days, that you can get to start with on these things without having to do anything yourself in report development. We'll see some of that today, but be aware that we have some prepackaged things that allow you to take advantage of these rich sets of data through Power BI from Microsoft, which is really the thrust of where they're going with reporting and analytics in the Office 365 platform. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Matthew Willey, who will give you a demonstration and show you how some of this stuff works in action, because these things are here today.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jim. All right. So I'm logged in here into Project Online. Project Online is just one of the apps within the Office 365 experience. And it connects with a lot of the other apps. A little bit later, we'll see Power BI and how Power BI can consume data from Project Online, as well as other sources like your service management system. Also, if I was to upload a document into Project Online, I could access that from OneDrive, which is kind of a shared drive in the cloud that you can access all your documents from and share them and so on and so forth. And what we're looking at here is a list of all of our different projects, and these projects are in different states. But these projects can come from many different places. Demand comes from many different groups and organizations within your company, and or your customers for that matter as well, whether they're internal or external. And so if you're a smaller organization and you're looking for some lightweight ITSM service management types of capabilities, and we actually provide an out-of-the-box capability within our One PPM solution that provides you a basic service request list where people can go in, put in their requests, and then those requests can go through a process. So if I was to come in and put in a new request as a user, I need something, I need a new laptop, or I need access to a system, or whatever it might be, I can come in, I can fill out a basic request here with some basic information. Hit submit, and then that will kick it through a workflow that will start routing it to the proper locations. And so if you have different people that are responsible for different types of requests, so on and so forth, then you can go in and utilize it that way. So from there, oops, done the wrong thing. If I go back into the service request list, let's say I'm one of the people that's responsible for getting this service request done, then I can go in, I can see all the different requests that are coming in, the requests that are assigned to me. There's some different views in here, and there's even a quick edit view where you can kind of open it up more like an Excel spreadsheet style of things. And I can go into any particular item and I can start working on this item. And as we go through the process, some more information will show up. Notice now I have a notes section where I can come and put my notes as I'm working on this. I can relate it to other related items, that might be related to this, problems, changes, whatever it might be. And I might even break this down into different subtasks if I choose to do so. But what this can eventually do is, if this request requires a project to actually go and complete it, it's not something we can just easily do real quick. We can't just add you. It's, we're setting up a whole new server farm, for example, and we can actually then convert this into a project. And so then that just becomes an input into your list of your projects where you can then go and do your prioritization and so on and so forth. Same thing goes if you're using other service management solutions. So if you're using more of an enterprise level service management solution, like say ServiceNow, then same kind of process. People come in, they can put in their different requests in here, and you can see there's many different requests coming in. And at a particular point in time, if it requires a project to go in and solve this request, or this group of requests, or this change, or whatever it might be that's coming in, as a demand object into ServiceNow, then we can come here and we can say sync to Project Online, and that pushes it into that same list of projects. So it all kind of funnels into the same place. So that's one main use case there of all these different requests are coming in, we want to put them in. But these requests don't have to just be service requests. A lot of organizations will expose in ServiceNow, say, an ideas or a project request object, where people can come in and put in their different items into here. Same case goes, we can funnel those in as well. So it's just different places that that demand can come from. Then, as all this demand is coming into Project Online, we need to come up with a plan of how and when can we do it, how are we going to resource it, what's it going to cost us, we got to stay within budgets. You know, there's a lot of different things that we have to manage within the constraints that we have. And so there's a full portfolio analysis module built into Project Online that allows you to do just that and do what if scenarios and kind of try to look at things around priority and value and figure out, okay, we only have so much money, we only have so many resources, how and when can we get this work done, this demand that's coming into us. So we can create models around financials. I only have $3 million for the next 6 months. Which projects can I do? And more importantly, should I do to increase the amount of benefits that we're going to get, the amount of business value that we're going to get from this as well. And then we can go, well, you know, there's more we want and need to do. Maybe we need to talk about increasing budget. What if we had $5 million? Well, if we had $5 million now, we could do this. But just because we have the dollars doesn't always mean we have the resources. And if we do have the resources, maybe they're already booked on other things right now. So then you can come in and start looking at, you know, who's working on what already, and then what can we get into the mix, and maybe we need to push out some of these lower priority projects to make sure that we can, you know, get everything we done that we need to, or maybe we need to say, what if I hire 3 resources and run scenarios like that to figure out how and when can we actually go and get this work done. So now if I have 3 more resources, I can get, you know, a couple more projects done, let's say, so it moved in 2 more projects. So you can create these different scenarios and go through, and there's lots of bells and whistles in here and reports and different ways you can look at that, heat maps, you know, so on and so forth. But the basis of it is that all the demand comes in and we can then prioritize and funnel that in and schedule that out to build out a roadmap of when we're actually going to do these things. So on the other side, we can push information back. So for example, in Project Online, if we were to put in a project and that project was going to, say, need to turn into a change that might be related to other items over in ServiceNow, so we can do some change management on, let's say, our IT infrastructure, we have the capability of sending this information back. So you come here, you hit a button, same kind of thing, sync to ServiceNow, and that will push these items back over into ServiceNow. That can also run on an automatic timer. Any of these things can, so that'll just happen automatically. No one has to go click the button on demand to do so. And or that can just be sending back, you know, status information. So as people are working on these projects that came from items over in ServiceNow, as we come in and we start to build out our schedule and we start to get an estimated start date and we start to get other information here, estimated finish dates, percent completes, whatever it might be, we can, on demand or on a schedule, send that information back over into ServiceNow so that I can start to see that information showing back up here, you know, on the original request. So the person who put it in can see that status being updated, and then anything else it's related to could be able to see that as well. So it kind of completes that loop and sends the information back if you choose to do so as well. So why do this? There's a couple reasons. One, bringing all of your projects into one place, as I showed you, allows you to have one place to go to run those scenarios to figure out, you know, how are we going to stay within budget, how are we going to stay within resources, so on and so forth. But another piece of it now is all of your projects are here, and you can also create what I would call operational projects, things for like your, you know, just kind of standard help desk tickets and such like that, where tasks might just flow into from ServiceNow. So you have a request that comes in to set up a new server, and I'm going to switch here to my services view. There it is. I could have a high-level setup server bucket or grant access to application bucket, or, you know, whatever it might be for each of your different services. And instead of having these requests come in as actual projects into Project Online, you can route these requests under these existing service projects here. So they just come in as tasks there. And if you do that, then we not only have the project work in Project Online, but we now also have your operational work in Project Online. So it really gives you the full picture. What does that allow you to do? Well, if I was to come into my resource views here and I want to see who's available and who's not, You know, who has capacity to work on new things, so on and so forth. That can be a really tough question to answer in many organizations. It can require, you know, extra Excel spreadsheets and trying to get a lot of information from people and coordinate that all. In this case, the information just flows, so I can come in and see, okay, Amy already has 3 different things going on. Some of these might be operational type, you know, projects, if you want to call them that, buckets of work. Some of them might be actual projects that she's working on, but you can see she's way over allocated, so we need to get her some help. While other people don't have anything going on, so we need to just spread this work around a little bit better and, you know, get visibility into what's going on there. So that's one, you know, piece of value around this, or one way this can be utilized to get capacity and availability information around resources. 2, you can also start to come in and track actual hours if you want. So now, not only is my project work here in Project Online, but my operational work is too. So I could have one combined system where I could come in then, fill out my time for anything that I've been working on, whether it's an operational project. And you could do it at the higher level. You don't have to put your time on each little individual service request if you don't want to. You could just put your time on, say, that setup servers project, as well as down to more detailed levels if you choose to do so. But people can then come in, put in their time for the week on the different things they worked on, save and submit. And then we can kick back the relevant information back over to ServiceNow if we need to do so, like totals of hours, for example. So you also then have a centralized time tracking area. And lastly, just status, you know, having one place to go to come in and be able to see all the different work that's going on, the status of that work, you know, group things up by portfolio or by application or whatever you might need to do to get the total visibility into all what's going on. And from there, that's what all rolls into your different reports. So into Power BI then, we have lots of different reports out of the box, as Jim mentioned. And this is a dashboard that's really meant for more of an IT manager. Let's say I manage a group of IT resources and a specific, you know, department, or the whole IT department for that matter. And I want to come in and go into one place to see what's going on, to get visibility into the status, into the costs, and the resources, you know, so on and so forth. I don't want to have to go to Project Online for some things and ServiceNow for other pieces of information and jump back and forth and then try to manually mush things together in reports when I have to present that to others, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to come into one place and have all that information feed to me. And so what we're looking at here in this dashboard is on the left-hand side, we're seeing more project management related things like portfolio cost and risk. But this is of our total portfolio of all projects, whether those projects were initiated in ServiceNow or in Project Online or not, it doesn't matter, they all roll together. We can pull in timesheet hours across all of this work, resource availability across all this work. But also on the right side, we can pull in more traditional service management types of information. Things like counts of requests over time. Is the demand going up? Is it going down? So we can try to understand if our demand is going up, what can we do to help pull that down, and or do we need to staff up to help meet that demand? You know, things like how many open overdue requests do we have? So, you know, simple pieces of information, as well as more complex information. We can look at ratings by service. So if we're actually tracking how well we are delivering those services, we can see here, resolving application issues, we have 4.5 out of 5 stars. We're doing really good on that. Setting up new servers, we only have 1.5 out of 5 stars. We're doing really bad. So I need to drill into that and look into that and figure out what's going on. Why are we unable to set up new servers efficiently, you know, for people? I can look into SLA information, service level agreement. Are we keeping to our SLAs? Are we delivering what we say we're going to deliver quick enough based off of the standards that we've set up, you know, so on and so forth. And I can do that all from one page. And from here, if I click on any one of these, it will drill in. So let's say I'm more interested in resource availability. If I click on that, it will then drill me into the full version of that report where I can then get a lot more information. I can come in and say, okay, how available or not each of my different roles are, my business analysts, you know, my developers, DBAs and such. And from there, you can even continue to drill in. If I come and click on, say, my support role, it'll then drill in and show me all of my support people and how available or not each one of those are. And then the details are down here below. And there's lots of different reports in here, and you can filter this down just for specific resources. You know, I just want to look at Adam and see how Adam's doing, or I want to look at a different department or just a specific role. I'm just interested in my developers. So from here, you can really get a lot more analytical and start to drill in and get down to the details of the data you want. Or you can just sit back up top and kind of see the high-level dashboard and how things are going. Power BI is able to be consumed in many different ways, one of which is through your mobile phone. So you can come in and you can view all this information right from a mobile app. You can subscribe to these if you choose to do so, meaning you'll get an email every day with this information. You can print these out to PDF or export them to PowerPoint or Excel. You know, there's lots of different ways that you can come in and get access to all of this different information. So with that, you can see how people could have demand coming in from many different places, including your service management tool, filter that into your project management tool along with your operational work so we can get resource load and costs and, you know, status of all of this work all together, and then have these really nice, robust reports and dashboards that give me good visibility in an analytical way into all that. So how does this all happen though? We have a platform which we call OneConnect, and OneConnect allows us to integrate with many different tools. If I was to come in and say add an integration, we'll see all the different integrations here that are available to me within this particular environment. And one of those being, which we were talking about today, ServiceNow. There are others in here like Dynamics, you know, VSTS, Jira, so on and so forth for other use cases. But how does this work? It's all very configurable. It's just a series of screens. So you come in, you fill in some information around the URL and the username and the password, the URL of your project online site, username and password. Some systems use tokens or keys. And you know, there's no code required to come in here and set this all up. And in fact, you can come in and manage things later on. So for example, when we initially set this up, maybe there's a certain set of fields that we want to bring in from ServiceNow into Project Online. And so we have that all set up here. Later on, I have this new field we just added to ServiceNow, and I have a new custom field over in Project Online. I can simply come in here and I can start to you know, grab those fields. So like the close notes, I want to bring in the close notes now, for example. I can map those two things to each other. And from that point on, it will start syncing that information as well. And so you can schedule these guys, you can do mappings of different fields and tables, you know, so on and so forth, but it's all administrable through this platforms here, through these different admin screens and such. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Jim for just a few more closing slides, and then we'll let you guys go for the day. So there you go, Jim.
Thank you, Matthew. Let me take over, and let's do a little bit of a summary and wrap up. So thank you for that wonderful demonstration. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of ITSM and PPM being integrated together. It gives us a single front door for all IT requests potentially through your ITSM solution. It also ensures that the help desk personnel can stay focused on small ticket items and that larger requests are evaluated and prioritized with the entire portfolio of projects that need to be done. So we go through a common funnel for those projects. It also ensures that IT stays focused on the right things and not just the next thing that comes up. So by putting that prioritization capability into the mix, we can make sure they're working on the things that are of the right topics and of the right priority or of the right timing for the organization. It also allows users to manage their entire workload in a single system, meaning that bringing these things together via integration allows us to mitigate the fragmented nature of the disconnected systems that we talked about earlier on. It also ensures that we have updated and consolidated portfolio reporting as a natural output of the process, as Matthew showed you with Power BI. It also helps us eliminate information silos and redundancy, meaning duplicate effort or putting information in duplicate places by ensuring that both systems are synchronized and up to date. By having those things happen and synchronized unbeknownst to the user, if we do this correctly, the user should just be able to work in their tool of choice or their system of record and have those things synchronized without them having to do anything overtly or proactively to make that happen. The systems will synchronize on their own. Also, you don't have to log into separate systems to log actual hours. You can go into one place to get your actual hours via time reporting or through the solution that you're working in. Okay, and then just having project and non-project time in one place from both an actuals perspective and a resource forecasting perspective is a byproduct of doing all of this. So the value of integration overall, if we do this, we'll have improved portfolio alignment to organizational goals and objectives, meaning that we can align what we're doing properly with the state of objectives and mission of the company. We can consolidate all work and resources into a single view, both in the solution itself in Project Online as well as in the Power BI reporting. And OneConnect is really the enabler from Wickersoft that quickly and reliably brings these disparate business systems together. We get a holistic view of resource availability and efficiency. That's an opportunity to get that type of information. And ultimately, by having a more holistic view, we get to do better forecasting and set more realistic expectations for our customers, meaning we can start making commitments based upon more complete information and better information, improving the likelihood that we're going to hit the target. And just overall, an improved common governance method for planning, executing, and reporting is something that brings these things together so we have a consistent approach throughout the organization. So ultimately, in summary, what did we cover today? That organizations are today using a variety of tools and solutions to plan and manage projects and other work. PMOs are challenged to provide oversight and reporting across these different silos of information. Generally, what we see today is there is a lot of labor-intensive mashing up of data, massaging of data, and transforming that data into reports, manually in PowerPoints and other types of things. We actually get to remove that effort and redirect that effort to more high-value types of tasks. And then Project Online provides a great platform for all the PPM capabilities. It's fully functional. And OneConnect from Wickersoft provides seamless integration between Project Online and ITSM tools. Though we did use ServiceNow as the example today, if you think about it, even if you have an ITSM tool that we do not have an out-of-the-box connector with, we've already got the mapping to the Project Online APIs done. We have the ITSM tool logic that's built from a business rules perspective. Really, all we need to do is map that logic to the specific APIs or data source for your ITSM tool, meaning even on a new one, we may have 2/3 of it already done in that, so it's not like building a custom integration from scratch. So the combined intake, governance, portfolio visibility, resource management, and reporting can be accomplished without a lot of manual pain and effort. I like to call it manual gymnastics or data gymnastics. So if you're interested in talking with us further, Wickersoft is a global company. We're a joint venture with Microsoft that was founded in 2002. They're a part owner of the company. And we provide consulting, business applications, managed services, and staffing services for organizations. We're a triple gold certified partner, and in this genre, we have triple gold certification. Less than 1% of Microsoft partners have that designation, but we are gold certified in project and portfolio management, collaboration and content, and cloud productivity. If you think about us as a one-stop shop, we provide all the consulting services to make solutions like this work. Obviously, we have business applications like OneConnect and our One Analytics and things that help extend and enhance those things. We also provide the enabling services for adoption in education and training and support. So please think of us if you're looking at going down this route, especially if you're integrating with the Microsoft realm of tools. Because even though we focused on Project Online today and third-party ITSM solutions, anything that has to do with the Microsoft solutions in the cloud today, we have a strong specialization in doing a lot of things in these. We have Project for project and portfolio management. We're helping people with Visual Studio for agile portfolio management and scaled agile. We use digital workplace frameworks, and we have solutions built strictly in SharePoint that are available and collaborating with people in teams as well. And then in the Microsoft Dynamics side, we're helping people with things like professional services automation and field service management. The common thread here, it's all about extending project and portfolio management to the concept of overall work management. And all of them will feed to that hybrid or combined Power BI reporting and analytics that Matthew showed you a little bit of today. So if you're interested in what you saw, we gave you a very generalized demonstration and gave you some very general concepts. We're happy to offer a free assessment and roadmap of what it might take through discovery to tell you from where you're at, what it would take you to get into some of the things that we showed you here today. And if you're embarking upon this and you're serious or something you're looking at imminently about making a decision about a solution, we could offer you a Project Online trial that's with free Wickersoft chaperone support, where we can establish a trial environment and we can provide orientation and ongoing check-in so that you're guided through that tour so you get the most out of your effort that you invest into that trial. Or if you're not ready to do that yet, even though this was a generalized demo, we're happy to schedule a more personalized one-on-one demo for you or your others in your organization so that we can really focus on your use cases and your requirements specifically in this area and even other areas. If you're interested, you can email us at contact@wickersoft.com. We have a number of different websites that are available for specific pieces of information, generally about Wickersoft and the general solutions and services we offer. You can go to us.wickersoft.com. Specific project online content we have at project-online.com. And if you want to look at OneConnect, uswickersoft.com/Project Connect is a way you can see that. We have a rich library of pre-recorded, already done on-demand webinars, as well as a list of our upcoming webinars that you can register for. So go to wickersoft.com/webinars and you can get to see those as well. As Mike said earlier on, we're going to be sending out to all who registered a copy of the slide deck and a link to the recording of this presentation today. If you have any questions that you'd like us to address, please feel free to send them our way via email, and we'll get those answered for you. We're happy to set up a call to discuss it if it's something a little bit more in detail. Thanks again for sharing part of your valuable time with us and your valuable day, and we hope to see you down the road. Have a great day.